Here we go, guys. This is the second part of the video. Just a quick introduction. Thanks again for all your patience and waiting and anticipating these movies. Hopefully I get them all out pretty quick. And here you go. Alright guys, trying to get this video out. This orc one's going to be kind of messed up, but that's okay. So you can see here, I got a few layers down of the green all over the arms, nice and even coat. Make sure that you got an even color before you move on to the next part. And then you can see here I'm starting to put on the leather brown. That's a V-yellow game color paint. It's called leather brown. And I'm going to add that to the pants. And then also I'm going to add that to the tunic. The chest piece, and then all other leather straps, the bracelets, boots, hairband, any other part that's leather is going to be done up in Beastie Brown. That's also from the yellow game color line. And also an extra thing that I did in the Beastie Brown would be the handle on that on the dagger there as well. And as you can see here, I used a really thinned out paint, 1:1 thinner to paint, a nice thin coat, and then just make sure that you're going back over and doing as many layers as it takes to get a nice even coverage. You don't want any of the base coats showing through. So just go ahead and do that and make sure that you've got all that nice and evenly coated before you move on to the next coat here. So we're going to go ahead and skip through. You've seen me do some of this. You can see that I'm using, instead of so much as painting the paint on, I'm kind of prodding it and moving it around. It's nice and thinned out, so it's more or less just kind of moving it around so you don't get that brush stroke effect. So go ahead and get all your leather straps down, and then as well as that, go ahead and we're going to do a first highlight. After you get all your leather onto the model, do a first highlight onto the arms and the face, and that's going to be a 2:1 mix with the original dark green that we used for the skin color, a 2:1 mix with 2 parts dark green paint, and then 1 part Citadel foundation paint, Deneb stone. So go ahead and mix that up with a little bit, 1 part thinner as well, into that, and give that a dry brush over all the skinned areas, concentrating on the higher edges. So go ahead and do that, and then we'll be right back. Alright, so you can see back here we got all the brown done, and also what we're going to do here then is we're going to do that dry brush so you can see here. So you take the dark green and the Deneb stone here, and you're mixing it up, 2 parts dark green, 1 part Citadel foundation paint, Deneb stone, as you can see there, and you're mixing that up with 1 part thinner as well, and then use, what I used was a Citadel Games Workshop medium dry brush. It's got nice hard bristles, and it's not so much as a dry brush over it, but more of an overbrush. You can see there, you just wipe a little bit of the paint off, leave some of it on, make it so it's not so wet. You want the paint to be a little bit dry, you don't want it to be glistening or anything, and then do an overbrush to all the skin areas, concentrating again on the raised edges, and make sure that you're getting a good, pretty good even coat on that, leaving the darker edges with that original dark green in the crevices. So go ahead and get that all over. Again, concentrating on the detailed areas where there's a lot of detail work, as you can see there, a lot on the face, fingertips, muscle structure, anything like that. You want to make sure that you get a good, nice, even coat and good, nice coverage onto all of that. So as you can see, I'm working it around, making sure that I have a even color tone to all the skin areas. Maybe a little bit darker on the underneath as I concentrate my highlights towards the top of the model. You know, but you still want to make sure that you've got at least some of that nice cream green color that you mixed up evenly coated around the whole model. So, and don't forget the hard to reach places as well, like back of the neck and stuff like that, side of the torso, in there by the leather armor as well. You want to get all areas. You don't want to miss anything. And it doesn't take very long for this overbrush to dry. You know, I mean, it's almost dry right after you get it on the model. So, but now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some Games Workshop, their Citadel washes, and it's their Thraka green, and I'm going to put a nice even coat on there. And you can see that I'm using my, it's a wider brush, I think it's a 3, with nice synthetic fibers. They're white, real nylon kind of fibers going there. They seem to work real good for the washes. And I'm giving it a nice even coat, again concentrating most of the wash into the deeper recesses of the body, and making sure that I have a nice even coat. Working quick though, because I don't want any of it to dry out before I get it all evenly placed over the model. So make sure that when you're doing the washes, you're doing them quick, you're doing them even, but do it pretty liberal, especially when you're doing skin washes. Especially when it's the same color, it's not going to be a huge difference in shading. It's going to tone down that cream green overbrush that we just put on, and it's going to give nice shading to the recessed areas of the model as well. So make sure you're doing that, and really concentrating, making sure that you keep the model straight up and down after you get the washes on there. You don't want it to be leaning to one side or anything like that, because otherwise you're gonna get the model's gonna start looking goofy, because all the wash is gonna run to one side. Again, that was Thraka green wash from Games Workshop. Alright, so you can see here the wash is all dry. And you can see we have nice definition now into all the creases and deeper areas of the model, which is really what you want. You want to make sure that your wash is evenly in. Now we're going to go ahead and move on to the metal on the model, and I'm using gunmetal metal from the Yellow Games Workshop. I also use a different brush when I do my metallics. It's a cheaper brush, but still it's a nice medium point. I think it's about a size 1. And the reason I use a different brush for my metallics is you don't want to be using the same brushes, because the metal particles that are actually in the paint can, they'll start to stick to your brush and they can ruin it. So it's best just to have a separate brush for your metallics. And you can see here I'm going to do all models again, or all metal parts of the armor, and anything that everything that should be metallic on this model, I'm going to do in this gunmetal metal here. And again, I water down my metallics 1:1, maybe even a little bit more with metallics, because the minute it starts to dry, the metallic paints with the particles in there, they'll tend to clump up and give it an unnatural feel to it. Also take and go ahead and put a first layer of gunmetal metal onto our piece of sheet metal that we made out of cardboard on the base as well. Again, being careful, don't use as much of a thinner into the paint that you're putting onto that cardboard, because it'll still warp even though it's onto this base coat here. But from here on out, it should be pretty well. It's got enough paint on it that it shouldn't warp out of shape or anything anymore. But again, just be careful. Don't push it. You don't want to bend it too much or anything when you're putting that coat of gunmetal onto there. So I'm going to take pretty much everything on this model that isn't painted so far, and it's going to get put metal onto it. The metal plates on the chest, the stick bomb hanging from his waist, his close combat choppa, and the slug of pistol that he's using as well. Also, the blade of the dagger that we put into the base, that's going to get a coat of this colored metal. And then you're also going to do I'm also going to do the links and the shoulder pads that are connecting everything as well in this gunmetal metal. So we'll go ahead and we'll fast forward here